Hi, I'm Lisa Hicks from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and you're watching Etsy Shop Audits.
All right, Lisa. Well, welcome to the Etsy Shop Audits, and we are going to dig into your shop. So it is Artisanal Print Gift is the name. Shop age is July 9th, 2023. At least that's what you had on your intake. The niche, the cannabis enthusiast, totally the wrong niche. We're going to have to dig into that. That sounds interesting. You had me at cannabis. And then sticking point is identifying the niche in marketing. And then total revenue, you didn't include that, but I just put 8 sales because that's what I saw that was in your shop.
Great.
And then from there, your income goal is $54,000 a year. Which I like that. It's a very exact number. We could have rounded up to 55 or 60, but 54 is a good number. So we'll shoot for it. So why don't you give us a little bit of a backstory, and then we'll just dig in. Like, what is the one thing that you want to walk away with after we get done here with the Etsy Shop Audit?
So a little bit of background is I was laid off from my last 3 jobs. And I from corporate America, and I've decided that I don't want to go back there. I'm currently working 3 different jobs, so I'm kind of all over the place, and I just need to stop this insanity. I'm 60 years old, and it's a time in my life when I should be enjoying it more, and that's not happening with 3 jobs. So, yeah.
Okay.
My son asked me to create a design for him, and it all started with this little guy right here, and it's...
Can you go ahead and show that again? I got you up on full screen.
Sure. Yep.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah. So all my designs, everything on my site is all my designs. I use Midjourney and then pull the designs into several different other platforms to make edits and customize them. So,
okay. All right,
yeah.
cool. So you've been at it, what is that? July 9th, you said. So it's been a little bit. Okay. So I guess where is your sticking point? So you've been going for a little while, 8 sales. Talk about that. Why do we only have 8 sales?
So I actually started in 2023 and threw up a couple of shirts and didn't do anything with it, walked away.
Okay.
Life was busy. And then I really got active probably in May of this year. And those 8 sales have actually probably come within the last week and a half, 2 weeks,
Okay.
I would say. And they're things that I thought would have never sold.
That is usually the case. What were those products?
The profits?
No, the products.
Oh, the products, blankets. Blankets and one of my stash bags that I created.
Okay.
And I
Chris, can you
actually
pull up the
have
shop so we can go
a
ahead and
review.
take a look?
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
I just want to kind of pull it up and maybe you can show us which ones sold.
Sure.
All right. So I have to ask, is it a bag for your stash, or is that the style of the bag?
It is a bag for your stash.
Nice. So,
all right. So Scott, but before we get into the products, just looking at the shop, right? Obviously the slide we have here with the cannabis stuff, if the target currently is cannabis enthusiasts, and Lisa, we'll have to talk about that here in just a minute. That one makes sense to me. The other ones here don't necessarily go with that vibe. Not that it's wrong, but if that's the target that we're going after, we want all of the imagery to represent something that would resonate with those people. But looking at this generally, Scott, banner, thumbnail, images, the top half of the shop page here, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think that's exactly what I'm seeing. So then the question that I would have immediately, Lisa, is, what is our focus? Because it's artisanal print gift, right? And then we've got cannabis, and then we've got a giraffe, and then we've got all of these different things. Let me ask you this: what sold? Like you said, blankets, but what was on the blankets?
So one of the horse blankets sold with a white background. I had 2 of the cannabis posters. You just scrolled past it. Sell that blanket right there.
Okay.
And that hooded blanket The dragon scale hooded blanket has sold, and the psychedelic mushroom has sold.
Okay. So, okay, now the 8 sales is not something I would be like, oh, well, you sold a blanket on this, so we should do like
Right.
whatever. But
Right.
I am okay immediately, and I'm just going to shout it out. Like the cannabis market is huge.
Right.
Like it's become now it's legal in a lot of states.
Right.
It's becoming more of the norm. It's not even just smoking it anymore. Now it's gummies, and it's like, and now like you said, you've got mushrooms,
Right.
and it's become more accepted, but also just more available, cleaner.
Right.
I guess it's not so underground. And the reason why I'm saying all of that is like, if that's something that you can truly go down that road, then that might be the avenue. And I would forget the horses. You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at like, if you find a cannabis person that's like into that and they're like, not just proud of it, but like they're okay with showing it off, or they like you have like some things here, like, like that one there, don't panic. It's organic. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're going to get someone that either would get this as a gift or would buy it for themselves. So those are checked. Those are boxes that are checked for me.
Right. So I've actually done a trade show a counterculture trade show in Denver, Colorado, and was very successful there. And I did the fishbowl where I gathered email addresses, and I'm doing the email thing.
Oh, I love that. So you did the fishbowl method for the cannabis stuff?
Right. At the trade show. And I'm actually in the process of rebranding my website. I've got a website built. But it's of course with that artisanal print and gift works. And so it doesn't really resonate with the niche. So I'm creating a new design for instead of the lady. And then I'm also rebranding with a new name as well. So, okay. But that's for the website specifically.
Okay. So, I mean, this is actually a very simple audit for me because I can see the path to victory like so clear. I think the first thing is are you okay going down the road of the cannabis market?
I'm okay, but when I do research, which I don't know how to do, my struggle is time management, focus, and research. So when I go down do the searches, I'm not seeing a lot of people searching for cannabis related items.
Okay. So
if I need to pivot, then I need to pivot now.
You said that you're building a website.
Right.
Is it on Shopify or is it on just an e-commerce platform?
It's Wix.
It's Wix. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get into that in a little bit. But what I want to say here is like, okay, just because Etsy does not have the search that you can see right now, okay, I do think there are people on there that would be looking up, maybe not calling it cannabis. You know what I mean? It could be weed. You know what I mean? Like it could be the search. Like there's so many different ways to come at this. I'm looking at it like this. And I say this all the time. Imagine, like, forget about Etsy for a minute. Just forget about Etsy for a minute. You did a trade show. There was a lot of people there. It was very successful. There is a lot of people that are in this market. And if you were to take that same thing that you did at that trade show and you created a giveaway on Facebook, which I don't know the rules and regulations on there. So Chris, you would probably know more on that. Can't do it. Okay.
No, can't do it.
Yeah. So, but all I'm saying is like, we know the market is out there. Now we just have to figure out how to get in front of it. Now, the one thing is you're not selling it. You're just selling, items that are related to it for the person who is a user or someone that is, into that market.
Right.
So the way I look at it is like, okay, so on Etsy right now, there might not be like the proof of search, but there's definitely people on there that are looking for a gift for, a certain someone, right? And it's our job then to be able to find different angles to go in this to get in front of those people. So I don't think like all of your success is going to come off the Etsy side. Etsy is just an easy way for you to get things up, get products created, do the print on demand thing, and get everything rolling. And then you're going to basically be over on your website, taking everything that you did there and over here. But what I'm really looking at is I'm looking at the person that put their name in the hat there, right? Or in the fishbowl.
Right.
That person you could email once a week with new fun merch or a blanket or a gift idea or whatever, or things to, keep your gummies in, right? It's like, you got a thing there for that. Or like you have the, the stash for the stash, you know what I mean? Like for the bag. So there's so much there. I would personally, I'd get rid of all the other distractions on any other thing. I would probably say we need to come up with a name that's going to represent that market. And I'd put blinders on, and I would just start focusing and double down on all of that.
Should I do that primarily on my website, or should I include Etsy in that as well? Because I am rebranding. I have a new name. I have a new logo. I just need the time to actually fix my website.
Personally, like, I don't know why you wouldn't. Okay. I don't know why you wouldn't rebrand, because it just, if you have a website, you want to say, oh, by the way, we sell on Etsy. Someone might feel more trust buying on Etsy than they are on your website. Same thing with Amazon. They're going to buy on Amazon quicker than they're going to buy on your website, even though you're like, but it's my website and I've got the little stamp up here that says it's verified, and it's, there's, all of these proof elements. It doesn't matter. People are still skeptical about buying off of a website that they don't know. If they're buying off Etsy, they know, oh, if I get in trouble here, I can just contact Etsy and I'm going to get my money back, or Amazon or whatever. So to me, it's like, if that's the direction you're going to go, then we need to basically make everything tied together.
Cohesive. Okay.
100%. 100%. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm posing this more as a thought, just having looked at the store. Scott, what are your thoughts about including some of the psychedelic stuff in with that versus it just being, and Lisa, you mentioned it's like a counterculture trade show or whatever it was, right?
Yep.
The counterculture side of that is cool, but I think you're going to have a lot of crossover between the people who are open to literally wearing their love of cannabis on their sleeve and the people who are interested, at least at some level, on the psychedelic side of things. And I think there's a lot of crossover where you would have people, what's the core? Is it forest core or cottage core, right? That's like the mushrooms, like almost psychedelic stuff. Right. But on the more natural angle. And I think you even mentioned one of the things that you sold was like the mushroom related thing. So I think having that as a second option is definitely a way to expand this niche. And there's enough crossover that to me, that doesn't feel weird. It doesn't feel like you're selling bass fishing and pumpkin carving stuff in the same place, right? There's enough of a crossover there that even if they're not into the mushroom or the more psychedelic side of it, that they might be interested in that more natural design, right? If we think of the classic hippie, what are they interested in, right? Like nature, getting back to, right? So you're going to have a lot of crossover there. And I think that massively expands the market because you are going to pick up sales from some people who aren't necessarily enthusiasts, but are just looking for something that's like cottagecore or forest core or something, right? And you're going to have enough crossover there that you can pick up some of the demand. Just looking at cannabis, Scott, I don't think there's enough demand on Etsy to get us to that 54,000. Let me share this tab really quick.
Yeah, go ahead and pull that open real quick.
But adding in some of those other things, I think we would easily be able to get there even with just Etsy, right? If we're looking at something like this, I just sorted by monthly sales. So I went in, searched for cannabis. Somebody can yell at me if I spelled that incorrectly. And then sorted by monthly sales, right? Just to see what is working and what is not. And there is some volume here, but I don't think it's enough to get us to that 54,000 all by itself, right?
Well, okay. So you're right, like cannabis, but that's off of cannabis. We didn't look at all of the other ones that we could go into, like weed, right? Someone put in the comments CBD, right? Like,
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like coming up with other variations of what it's called, right? But to your point, Chris, I think it's great of what you said, because you can definitely leverage some of those other crossover sub niches. Like again, I'm thinking like the what is it? The witchy is what it's called, or something like that, where it's like that's like a style where it's like more a little bit goth, dark, kind of stuff. Like that would probably be the market, because I'm not judging them people and saying like, oh, because they're into that stuff, they're smoking weed or they're doing gummies, but they could, you know what I mean? And so you're kind of looking at like even the artwork, like you said, Chris, like being psychedelic kind of look. You could sell artwork around that stuff to someone who's into the other. And once they get into the shop, they're like, whoa, they sell, this, or, you know what I mean? Oh, this is cool. They've got that. So again, I've always said that, like, how can we bring someone in so they can see the other stuff, but the right person? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think you're going to have a lot of overlap in like the natural looking things, right? So, and if we flip back over to the shop here, we can think about this in a logical way. Maybe not the horse blanket. It's a cool design, but it doesn't necessarily go with some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Right. The mushroom and bunny velvet thing. Okay, I get that. Yep. The dragon scale hooded blanket. I find it interesting that 3 people have that in their cart. And I know you said you sold one of those already, I think. But looking at a lot of these, if we're just scrolling through, right, the more natural designs are what we're going to see is kind of that thing that goes between those two niches, right? Your psychedelic mushroom hoodie, even if you're not into mushrooms, maybe you're into the hoodie because it's part of culture around cannabis, around psilocybin, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a massive niche, number one. It's just a matter of figuring out the angle that you can come in at, and then looking at these different variations and thinking of the person that would be maybe a user, but then also what are the other things that they potentially could be into, you know what I mean? And then you're like, okay, they didn't come in looking for cannabis something, but they came in looking for, if we're talking about like the psychedelic stuff, they're looking for, or even the witchy, I think that's the niche. I don't know if it's the right one or not, but it was something like that. It was like witchery or something like that, where, they were, into that type of decor. So even finding certain decors that people are decorating in, that would also be the user. So some of that research could even be like going into like Google Trends and putting in like, cannabis user. And then you see that and it says related searches, and then it shows you related searches. So a lot of times you can find sub niches by just doing some related searches, whether it's on Google, whether it's, doing Google Trends, like we said, or just doing research even on YouTube. Go to YouTube and see what other channels they're following, right? Like, just, you have to almost get into the user's mind of what other things that they're into. And then that could be something that you could add to the shop that would bring that person to you.
I think that's a really important thing to think about, right? Looking at what we have here, a lot of the cannabis related things are very specifically cannabis related things, right? Which, by the way, I love your little cannabis leaf here. He's adorable. But there's a lot of those tangential or related things, Scott, with cannabis, right? If you are into cannabis culture, there's a lot of other things that are going on, right? Don't panic, it's organic. That's cool, and that plays into that. But what are the other things? What are the things that they would be more likely to be interested in because they are a part of cannabis culture? It doesn't always have to have a cannabis leaf on it, right? If we're thinking about the more natural design style things, they're going to be down with that for the most part, right? And so we can start to bring some of those things in and expand that out while still staying in the niche. Zodiac, probably not a lot of overlap there. There could be. I think you're going to find there's a little bit more overlap with the natural design, maybe some of the mystical stuff, even your dragon scale stuff, and then any of the psychedelic or like forest core, cottage core type of a design, I think is where you'll start to see a lot of that overlap happen.
Okay. Do you think I should get rid of the astrological stuff and keep the cannabis, the mystical, stuff? Get rid of the horses.
I think the horses, I don't necessarily think that you really have to get rid of, like Zodiac and like that stuff. I don't think you have to, because it's kind of like, I kind of think of like, I don't know, it's kind of still around that, like you want to know about your sign. You want to know, it's almost like tarot, almost in a sense that where tarot, You know, cards could also be another angle in. I don't think that's too far out of place to see that. I think if you went into a cannabis store and you saw those up there, it would kind of make sense. It wouldn't make me feel like, oh, why is there a baking kit over here for, well, there could be brownies.
Well, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I was wrong there. No, but you know what I'm saying? If you went in there and there was a knitting thing and you're like, well, it doesn't really go, right? But
right.
That kind of goes. So but I wouldn't create more. I would just keep what's there. I think the dragon stuff could totally be there because you could go even into I think you had in there mushrooms, right? Because mushrooms is a natural, very, very much like cannabis. So it's like people that are buying mushrooms are also probably doing cannabis or vice versa, or one or the other. So I think that's fine.
Mushrooms were really big at the trade show. So
okay. So I mean, there's a lot to go on here. So that's why I think the first thing would be like, okay, let's go ahead, and if that's the direction that you're going to go, let's make sure everything is branded together. So everything, when someone goes from here to here to here, it's all like they're in the right place. They're not at a gift shop. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's what I would want, is that branding to be kind of fixed. And then from there, I would probably make out a list of like, okay, what are the next 5 products that I could create that would bring that person into my shop, and try to find some products that do have some demand. You know what I mean? And starting from there. And then I would build it out.
Okay. I can do that.
Build that out. Chris, can we got a few minutes here. Can we go and look and just do a little bit of research? I'm just curious myself. If I was not even doing this audit, I'd want to kind of explore this because it's interesting. I'm just curious, like what is selling out there and what on Etsy is even on there around, And I think there was a saying out there, something about pothead, and it was like you saw a cute pot or something, and it was, you know what I mean? So there's like a lot of like fun things that you could probably do with this as well.
I think one of the things that I saw when I was looking was a bunch of these stash bags, and I think they're marketing them as odor-proof bags, was the thing that I was seeing there. And why would you need an odor-proof bag? Well,
it's smelly.
Right.
For the places where it's not exactly legal and there may be canines involved. But I think if we look at something like this, we can see, let's just search the term that most people would use for this. If you're not into it. So, okay. The Barbasol stash can, which, by the way, Scott, name that movie real fast.
What one is that?
With the Barbasol stash can?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. Is it a Cheech and Chong
Jurassic
one?
Park, man. Come on.
Jurassic. I thought maybe Cheech and Chong because we're on that. You know what I mean?
No, he's when he steals all the dinosaur DNA, instead of it being dinosaur DNA, you can put your different vaporizer cartridges in there, I guess, which is kind of interesting. But what I'm seeing here is if we look at these, it's either marketed as like stoner pothead or something related to the benefit of it, right? So if we're looking at this smell-proof bag, right? That's what people are looking for. Yes, it's a stash bag, and maybe we include that in the description, right? Because it's smell-proof, it's the perfect bag for your stash. But that is how we get out of just the like people in the know market and make it a little bit of a broader product. The same thing here, right? If you're not into cannabis culture, but your nephew is, and you're looking for a Christmas gift, you're probably not going to type in the word cannabis, but you might be like, my nephew's a pothead Christmas sweater, right? And so, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Lisa, most people in the cannabis community are not offended by that, right? It's not necessarily, it doesn't have the negative connotation. So it's not going to turn off the people in the niche, but it is going to allow people who are outside of the niche looking for things for people in the niche to actually find it. And I think that's the biggest thing that you may run into with something like cannabis. Cannabis is the actual name of the plant, and that's what it was called up until about 100 years ago in the US, right? And then, all of the history of the drug culture in the US came into play. But most people now don't understand that unless they're part of the community, right? So if we think about how someone outside of the community would call someone in the community or call the product that we're looking for, we're going to start to open up the search results just a little bit more.
Okay.
I'm curious too. Now, Chris, can you go ahead and search by sales on this one here now that we did that search again? I think stoner, that's another good one. There we go. Okay, so what do we got there? Crescent moon. So see crescent moon again. That's kind of like that. I look at that as kind of what's the name of it? Oh gosh, I forget the name of it, but it's like a magical kind of like I don't want to say fairy.
They're calling this Whimsigoth, which was a niche we had thrown out for us.
But yeah, I mean, so this is 114 sales a month on something like that. There's a bag 90 a month. That's decent. Been doing it for 26 months. Let's see, oven mitt. Is that it? Yeah.
Could we call that a pot holder?
Yes, we could call that a pot holder. Yeah.
Sorry, the joke is obligatory, y'all.
So I mean, there's volume here. Look there's a candle there. Can you still smell the weed? Right. 62 sales a month. I like dogs and weed. Shirt, 49 sales a month. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff. There's definitely stuff. And we're just looking up under like marijuana, and this is what's coming up. If you did stuff that was a play on stoner, you did a play on pothead, all that stuff. I definitely think like right now we might be a little late to the party, but a Christmas ornament or weed, right? Like with a weed leaf or something with a Christmas hat on it, like pothead.
So I thought this one was interesting. Like it's very obviously the Grinch, but you're not really in copyright territory here necessarily.
Yeah.
A play on something with Christmas, I think would be interesting. And there's no reason not to include it in this. I guess I should probably sort this by monthly sales instead of just randomly scrolling through.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm seeing a lot of grinders and some of those kinds of things. And I think, Lisa, this is probably what you were running into, right? Where you're like, I don't know if the volume is there necessarily. There definitely is volume here. It's just a question of finding exactly what we want to call it. And maybe each product has a slightly different thing, right? Emergency weed, fake ornament. Okay, well, here was one that looked like a niche shop. So let's take a look at this shop really quick, Scott, and just see if anything else
Pookie
pops
pot shop
up here. Faux marijuana and accessories.
Yeah, 884 sales. Can you do a run on the full shop, Chris?
Yeah, I wanted to see really fast if they had anything that stuck out to me here. Yeah, so it looks like their pins and their ornaments are what's doing it for them.
Yep. So, I think, okay, to kind of, again, like say like this niche is huge, massive. I just think it's coming up with the products using the names of the product that's being used, right? Or the different terms that are being associated with, with that. I mean, look at as soon as you come here to this shop, you know where you're at, right? Like, you know exactly what's going on here.
Pookie knows what's up.
Pookie knows what's up. Pookie's pot shop. So you immediately know, you see that, you see the leaf. Like, I mean, this is actually a very well branded shop.
It is.
Right. So right there, it says you asked for a dedicated shop. So we did it. So it used to be Callie's Keepsake Shop with like formally to welcome you. So see, they rebranded themselves. It says it right in the announcement. What's this here, Chris?
This is a Stoner Advent calendar.
Nice.
That has sold 2 in the last 24 hours.
Okay. That's interesting.
And I don't know. It looks like it's for a different strain every day.
Oh gosh, that's funny. So it must be a gummy. You take a gummy out of there.
A gummy, or just enough to roll you one. Yeah, so it looks like they are for gummies. Looking at that, right?
Which I think would be another angle, is talk about gummies. You know what I mean? Like something about the gummy stuff. So yeah, no, I mean, and they've got what's that shop? You're looking at that one there. They got a little mixed bag, don't they?
Yeah, it's called Custom Dank. So I'm assuming this is an industry shop. a lot of grinders, right? And then you have the advent calendar. Mostly what they're selling are the accessories that would be needed.
With these accessories, are they creating these accessories themselves, or are they just like drop shipping these?
They're supposed to be, but they could be just buying them and then reselling them.
Okay.
You know, that's one of those little you're not really supposed to do it, but if they're saying that they're personalizing it in any way, or if they are saying that we actually make these, which they're probably not, I would say if you could, and I don't know if there's anything out there, if there's a print on demand shop that offers something that is that you're able to basically personalize or something, that would be something that would be cool, because the accessories market would be a bigger extension of this, of course.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So, but I would start with that. I would start first off. I would say, all right, if you're gonna, put the flag in the ground and say this is the direction that we're going from here on out, then I would just focus the energy there, and then the email list that you're building, all of that stuff, everything that we've talked about, everything that we've ever shared, is in line with every single piece of this, like every piece.
So one quick question is I do also machine embroidery, and I have quite a few marijuana or pothead designs that I can put on t-shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies. And
yeah,
but I don't know how to upload them, to take quality pictures of those or make mock-ups of those without actually embroidering on 20 different shirts so that I can get the designs up there.
Lisa, you were asking, do the print on demand places have some of these things, or are they just drop shipping? Some of those places are drop shipping, but if you can not find the thing that you are looking for, Google is usually your best friend. So literally, this is the first Google result for print on demand herb grinder, right? You're not going to type in weed grinder probably, but you are, whatever the related non-marijuana term is,
right,
you're going to find something. So I was able to find this. This is literally the first result. So don't necessarily go over to printkk.com or whatever the website here is and take this as gospel. But there are all of these types of accessories available on print on demand. You might not find them somewhere like Printify or Printful, because it's not something that has that level of mainstream demand. But if there is something specific that you see a lot of volume in, you can almost always go to Google and just type in print on demand and then the name of the thing. And so, for $6, that's not terrible. Now, granted, there's $6.13 in shipping on this, so we have to figure out what the pricing looks like. But it is something that we can get just in a few minutes of searching if it's something we see that there's demand for in the market.
Amazing. I had no idea that these guys would customize and ship something for me.
So there's a lot out there, but like Chris said, it's just, putting print on demand and then the item, and then you'll probably find other ones. I mean, Printify and Printful, they're great, but they might not have everything that you want or need. So you have to kind of go outside of that. And there's companies out there's tons of print on demand companies. So are you saying though, but you're going to be printing these yourself?
Yeah, I do the custom embroidery myself.
Okay. So if you're doing that all yourself, you're going to have one of the shirts. Can't you take your own pictures?
Well, I do. When I purchase the design or I create the design, I do a test stitch out of it. But I don't actually put it on a shirt or a sweatshirt at that time otherwise I would have, shelves and shelves of hoodies and t-shirts here.
Right. But I think
a lot of back stock. Yeah,
but I would say if again, I wouldn't try to make this a volume game yet. Right. I would make it where it's like, if there's like, I would test the design to make sure that that's going to sell. And, whether it's embroidered or like embroidery would probably be more along the lines of you're going to be able to personalize it for someone.
Right.
And if that's the case, then it's going to be a limited run, because I would say I'd rather go the print on demand version, because then you don't have to touch it. Right. But if you're going to add personalization, now we get to say personalized, weed bag, if that was the case, or whatever it is. And then now you've separated yourself and you've made it a little bit more unique. But but I don't know that I would even worry about that at this point. I think that's a little bit further down the road. I'd get everything kind of built. And I honestly, I wouldn't overwhelm yourself with like, everything's got to be perfect. I think the website, yes, you want to get that. So that way there, you have that, but then you also want to have your Etsy shop to match that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say also the other kind of elements that's there is like, okay, if you're going to be offering 20% off to join our VIP, weed club or cannabis club or whatever we're going to call it,
Right.
then I would want to get that done. So that way there, when customers do come in, we're able to start building that list. And then I would come up with the 5 products that are going to be the ones that you should launch next by doing your research and doing the ones that you're like, I could create that. And it's selling 40 a month, 50 a month. And I'm going to create 5 of these right now.
So I spent a lot of money on a training program, an Etsy training program, and I was never taught how to do the research. So if I put sure, I know, right? So, I mean, I can put shirt in. I have an Everbee. I have an Insight Factory membership. I've got all kinds of stuff. Money is flowing out monthly for all this stuff. So I just, that's one of the huge things that I really need help with is understanding how to do the research properly.
Okay.
So I'm not,
Yep. Well, that's a shame that you didn't get that part of it, because that's the most important part is
right.
finding the products. It's, all the other stuff isn't going to matter if you don't have products that are going to sell. But let's not focus on that.
Okay.
So I have a free resource that we can give you access to, and anybody that's watching this, we can go ahead and we'll put it in the description. But there's a link that Chris and I did a full free training where we went and found 3 products that were doing $1,000 a month just to show the process of doing the research. Yeah. We also have another, it's a product that's pretty inexpensive. It's under $100 and it's called Niche Product Magic. And that one there we have, and we have a niche validation piece that we did as a bonus workshop there. That's included in that. And I'll link everything up in the description. So anybody that's watching this if they want to go check that out, they can, but we can send you the links to that. And then, like I said, the one is free. So you can go through it. It's about an hour long and it'll literally show you us using Everbee, finding these products, and also explaining the process, because to us, it's about, we can show you how to find a product, but then it's got to be about, you got to be able to do it yourself. So it's like, it's not like catching the fish for you. It's like teaching you how to fish, what I mean? So, but we do show you like 3 examples there. So we'll give you that, but that is extremely important. That would be my homework for you. It would be like, get everything cleaned up. If you're going to rebrand the name, come up with your new name, make sure you buy the domain name, like those types of things. And then from there, I would start thinking about, okay, let's do the product research to find our next 3 to 5 products that have demand. Right. And then create those products, upload those products, create amazing listings for those products, and then run through, the process as far as getting everything launched, but then also getting sales coming in, running Etsy ads, and hopefully the training that you purchase gives you all of that. Because I
am doing Etsy ads. So,
okay.
I was doing it on my entire shop, and then it's like, well, these things aren't getting any views, so I got rid of that, and then I upped my budget a little bit.
Okay.
So,
and we have a free resource for that too. I mean, we have a full training on it. That's a paid training, but we also have a free resource that we can, we'll link everything up in the description for anybody that watches. But as far as you go, we'll just, we'll send you that after we get off here. I'll just send you a bunch of links to some of this stuff so you have it.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, the Etsy ad stuff, it's a whole nother little animal. You know what I mean? You gotta understand it, and it's not hard, but these are all little pieces, but that doesn't even get started until we have the products that we validated that have demand. Right. So, all right, cool. I think you've got some homework.
Lots of homework.
You're going to take a deep breath after you get off here, and then you're going to relax, chill for a minute. And then the first step would be probably okay, well, maybe you already came up with your name, but come up with your name and then rebrand and then start kind of getting everything tied together.
I will do that. I already have a name, so I'll get to work on it.
All righty, Lisa. Well, what we're going to do then is we'll have to follow back up with you maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, and we'll do a little bit of an update. We'll see where you're
I would like that.
Awesome. We'll do it for sure.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All righty. Good luck.
Thanks.
So that's a wrap for this Etsy shop audit. But if you want to watch more, well, you can find some more right here. And if you do, well, I'll see you there.